Hi guys, welcome to my channel and to my Back to Beauty No Buy Year. Today's video is the second episode in my Panning for Dummies series. In the first episode, we talked about picking a project as well as picking the products. So I will link that up in the cards in case you missed it. But today we're going to be talking about prepping and organizing your project before you begin. As always, I hope you'll keep in mind that I'm not calling anybody a dummy. I'm only giving an homage to the For Dummy books that tend to give us some very basic information on any particular subject. Talking about prepping your project. Something that I possibly could have incorporated into the first video, but I'm going to mention today is taking an inventory of your makeup. Taking an inventory is very helpful when it comes to project panning, but it's also very useful information in general if you have a larger makeup collection. There are several ways that you can take an inventory. My preferred method, I use Google Sheets on my phone, my iPad, my computer, and I like that because I have access to my inventory no matter what device I happen to be near at the time. I do frequently work on YouTube stuff away from home, and so it's really nice to have that inventory available to me at all times when creating videos, editing videos, etc. But besides spreadsheets, you could also put a note or document in your phone using your preferred word processor, or you can do it pen and paper, which is what my girl Angela does. It's really nice and easy. So there's many ways to do that. This is absolutely not a required step, but if you do have a larger collection, this might be helpful to you in terms of looking at what you have, looking at your numbers, seeing where you need to cut down or want to cut down, your usage habits and things like that. In terms of an inventory, I'm going to have pictures up on the screen of my actual inventory spreadsheet and how I do that. But how in depth you go is absolutely up to you. You can just have, lip products, face products, whatever, or you can break it down like I do. I have foundations, but I also have medium to full coverage, light to medium coverage, and BB cream or tinted moisturizer. Another example is lips. You can just have a list of lipsticks, or you can break it down like I do. I do bullet lipsticks separately, I do liquid lipsticks separately, and I do lip gloss separately. It's whatever works for you, whatever is the most convenient. You may not have a lot of time to put into an inventory, but it really does help to have one. Optional info ideas for you for your inventory. Sometimes it's helpful to have the size of the product. If you don't want to go in depth and put the ounces, you might do something like sample or deluxe sample or mini or full size if that's helpful to you. Another thing I like to include in my inventory is a column where I can put the name of a project pan if a particular product is in a project. For me, that's really helpful. At a glance, I can see what's in my Grey's Junkie project, what's in my year-long project pan, seasonal project pan, etc. And it's really easy for me to see which products are in a project at a glance. As well as you can put things in there like the date you purchased something, the date you finished something, how many times you've repurchased something. This is all information that can be really helpful, not only to a YouTuber, but to any person who uses makeup. See which products you go through the quickest or see which products take you forever to finish. Like a blush, you might be inclined to stop buying so many blushes. Next, I suggest making a list of the products that you are going to put in the project. Now, how I do it is at the very top of the list, I put pertinent information for that specific project. For example, the start date and the end date of the project. Any hashtags that you might want to include on Instagram or on YouTube, as well as sometimes I put all of the update dates on my list, just so I know when I'm updating and can be anticipating updates every time I look at my list. And then next, I go ahead and list out all of the products in that particular project. And then underneath each product, I go ahead and put my goal, whether it's to finish, hit pan, use half, whatever the goal, I put that right underneath the product. So it's right there in my face telling me, you know, how hard I need to be working on this product to be successful. So this is exactly what one of my lists might look like. Pertinent information up top as well as the name of the project. And then I have the products going down. As I finish them off or roll them out, I will cross them out and put the date that I did that, as well as I always leave a space at the bottom of my list if it's a rolling project, meaning that you can take products out or you can put products in, new products in at will. I leave a space at the bottom so that I can write in the products that I'm rolling in as well as the goal. My last suggestion in terms of your list is that you keep it somewhere visible in your beauty space. Wherever you do your makeup, I used to do my makeup in my bathroom back there. I had lists in my bathroom, and now that I have a beauty space with my vanity where I film, I keep it on the wall right over here, and I'm able to look at a glance and see, you know, what I'm doing. So the next tip I suggest is to enter in all of your updates for any given project into your calendar, your planner, whatever your mode of staying organized in your daily life happens to be. I know a lot of people like to use the calendars on their phone, and I think that is fabulous, especially because you can set it up on your phone to remind you, you know, several days ahead of time so that you can film if that's your thing, or you can take pictures if you're working on Instagram or what have you. For me, I have a day planner. She's, you know, she's well loved. This is my Bible when it comes to doing YouTube, because I always put not only what I'm posting that day, but what I'm filming that day and other things that I need to do that day in regards to YouTube, as well as running my home and wrangling my kids. So I highly recommend that you use a planner or a calendar on your phone, whatever your jam is, to stay organized with your products, with your project. Next, let's talk about documenting your progress, starting with your intro. For powder products, I like to take close-up pictures of the product, of course, the starting point, as well as when I update each month, I like to take a picture. This is a very simple process, but I'm going to give you some tips and tell you kind of exactly how I do things. First thing is I like to use a similar background either for each project or just for project panning photos in general. One of the ways that I do it is I use various scrapbooking papers. Like this is my one for 31 days of lips. This is kind of a general, you know, makeup of the day type picture thing. This is the paper I used for all of my collection videos. And then this is the one that I use for my Grey's Anatomy project pictures. So this is a really simple way to have a really nice consistent background when taking progress photos for project panning, but you can also just use, you know, a similar surface, whether it's your countertop in your kitchen or your bedspread or a throw that has a nice, you know, simple background. You can do it on the same table every time. Ultimately, it doesn't matter what your background is. These are just suggestions, but a couple of things that I really do recommend in terms of taking progress photos is to try and take the pictures at the same angle. If you're taking a flat lay picture, then continue to take flat lay pictures, you know, looking straight down versus, you know, tipping your camera back or what have you. I think in terms of seeing actual progress in the pictures, it really helps if you're taking the picture at the same angle every time. These are just kind of nitpicky things, but this is how I do it, and I think that this information could be helpful to somebody who really just has no idea what they're doing in this, and this is kind of things that I've had to figure out along the way. Also, I recommend using whatever the best lighting in your home is. I have pretty good lighting where I film, but if I didn't, I could go out in the living room in front of my big picture window and take the pictures there. Whatever your best lighting is, that's where you can take your pictures so that they look the same, so that we can really see the progress in your pictures, etc. And this is especially important when you're doing a project on Instagram, because we're just seeing your pictures in terms of an update and progress. So I find those things to be helpful to me. Now, measuring things that are in a stick form, for example, lipsticks. We have this NARS Velvet Matte, like a product like this. I have this Anastasia contour stick thing that I'm panning, eyeliners, brow pencils, anything that you're measuring the length in terms of showing progress. I recommend holding it up, not holding it up, but I recommend measuring it against a ruler. And how I do this is I take my piece of paper, I have my ruler, this would be done flat on a surface, and then I take a picture of the product up against the ruler to show an exact measurement of where the product is at. And then from update to update, as you measure it, you'll be able to determine exactly how much progress that you've made. This is actually something that I've just started doing within the last couple of months. I've seen other people do it before. I don't know if I was just lazy or it didn't click in my brain, but this is a fantastic way to show progress on your products. Now we're going to talk about marking your products if you choose to do so in order to show progress. For example, this lip plumper from Milani. The first thing you want to do if you have a product like this that is liquidy, whether it be foundation or glitter drops or a skincare product, what have you, you're going to want to let the product settle. You know, some people store their lip glosses like so in a drawer, or whatever your situation for storage is. Before you mark your products for an update, you're going to want to let the product settle. Hopefully we'll be able to see here that the product is settled all the way down to here. It's clear up here and it's opaque down here. So this product has been kept right side up, and because it has settled, I'd be able to mark the progress right here. Another idea in terms of determining progress is to hold your product up to a bright light, whether that's sun shining through your window, if you have a ring light, if you have a bright lamp in the background, you can even remove the shade. If you hold a product, especially a product like this where the packaging is semi-opaque, if you hold it up to the light, you'll be able to determine where the progress is at better and be able to mark your product to show your progress. Now let's talk about how to mark your progress. If you choose to mark your progress, some people, if they saw something like this in their, this has obviously been in a project or two, some people would really be bothered by marking up their packaging like this, and that's okay. There's other ways to do it. You can weigh your product if you have the ability to do so, or you can just or you can just say in your intro, I'm up to the A in Becca, or give reference in terms of the packaging, like here's the barcode, I'm just a centimeter below the barcode. There's other ways you can describe your progress without marking them. In general, I don't have a problem marking packaging because the ultimate goal for me is usually to move it out. But how I like to mark packaging for project painting is I like to use a permanent marker like this Sharpie. Any color will do. You can see that I've had multiple colors here, And once I've marked the product with a permanent marker, I take a clear nail polish. This is just an inexpensive one that I didn't particularly like, and I just put a stripe of clear nail polish over the marking on the packaging. That way, with daily usage, handling, what have you, specifically if you have skincare that you keep in your shower, things like that, using a clear nail polish over your marking will ensure that it stays on the packaging so you can continue to see the progress as you update your project. Let's talk about organizing. This is one of my favorite things to do. Some people like to use stickers or colored tape to mark their products. Specifically, my girl Angela uses actually different colored stickers on products to reflect which project they're in. For example, she might have a pink smiley face on her Grey's Anatomy products, and she might have a yellow smiley face sticker on her hair, body, skin project, if that makes sense. So at a glance, she can look at the product and see which project it's in, as well as the fact that it's in a project. Some people use the cute little colored tape and put on their products. That's cool too. I do things a little bit differently, and I know others do it this way as well. I like to keep all of my project pan products separate and visible in my beauty space. Ignore the tweezers hanging out on the edge here, but this is just a little aluminum sort of wash tub cute thing that I found at a craft store, and this is where I currently keep the products that I'm panning. And I just have this sitting on my vanity where I can see it, and every day when I pick out my makeup, I know I need to look there and see which products I need to use or want to work on making progress. So any little vessel that you already have is going to work. Some people use a basket. I like this. Sometimes I'll use cute pottery like this to wrangle things for a particular project. It's amazing that I can keep the words straight at all, but this is how I like to do things, but to each their own. Use what works for you. Some people have like an acrylic organizer and they'll use one particular drawer for their panning products. I think that works great too. Whatever is most convenient and fits the best into your routine is what you should do. And just a few final tips in general on this subject. Do what works for you. If you don't want to mark your products, don't do it. If it works just fine for you to keep your things where they go in your beauty space, that's fine too. Use stickers, don't use stickers. The point is, use what works for you and your collection, because there are no hard and fast rules about how you have to do these things. These are just some tips and ideas to get you started. Also, one thing that I think really helps me, this is kind of in general a tip or trick for project panning. I like to collect my makeup for the next day or for the next makeup application prior to actually sitting down to apply my makeup. I use a little acrylic tray like this. You could also use a little plastic basket. Any vessel will work that will hold your makeup safely. But generally I do this at night. Sometimes I do it in the morning right after I wake up. I like to sit down in my beauty space with my tray here and collect the products that I'm going to be using for my next phase of makeup. When I'm sitting down and intentionally thinking about the products that I want to use, I find that I remember to use my panning products more. I sit down, what bronzer do I want to use? Okay, I know I'm panning this Becca bronzer for whatever project, so I'm going to put that in my tray. And I find when I'm more intentional and doing this ahead of time, I reach for my products more than if I just sit down and start pulling things out of my collection. Oh, I want this, I want that, and my products from my panning projects don't get used. So this is something that my girl Angela and I both do. I find it helps me to really hone in and be intentional about using my panning products. And that is it for the second episode of Panning for Dummies. Next time we're going to be talking about setting goals in our projects, so I hope you'll tune in for that, and I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful project panning makeup days, and I will see you in my next video soon. Mwah!